Hi, I'm Elisabeth Dawson, your financial expert and financial coach for our show, Ways to Love Your Money. And, our inspiration is from our book, Wealth by Design, and that's where all these things came from. But today what I want to talk to you about is an article that we have on our blog. And it's, suddenly single. And this is kind of an impact for people today. So the average age of a widow in the United States today is age 59. We never think that that's even a possibility. We might be getting married later in life. We might be, marrying a spouse that's maybe a few years older than us. And then, emergent things may happen or sudden situations might change our lives. But why we want to talk about this subject is because we want women to feel more empowered by their situation, to know what their finances are. Now, it's not just women out there. Sometimes it's a husband, or sometimes it's, a situation where one in the partnership or the relationship or the marriage doesn't necessarily understand the finances, and they don't want to. Maybe it's something like that, old Popeye cartoon where it would go just want, and they just didn't want to hear the different aspects or the knowledge or the information about, let's say, finance, money, financial planning, all those different aspects in their life. So the bigger concern why it's a widow or even a widower, because I've experienced in my own personal family, the women in our life kind of have, predeceased younger ages to my father and then also to my brother-in-law, and they're here now and their incomes have changed. The same with women. If the average age of a woman at age 59, if that doesn't seem like that's young to you, it does to me because I'm getting closer to that age myself. We need to take a much more active role in how our finances are, because less than 3% of us out there today are having an active role in making those financial decisions. So again, if you want a copy of that article, I definitely encourage you to reach out to us or go to our blog on one of our websites. It's definitely there. It's called Suddenly Single. So think about this. If you've only made 3% of the financial decisions in your life, and then if you become the surviving of the partnership or the marriage relationship, and these financial decisions have made on your behalf, how does that make you feel? And do you understand how to make those financial decisions in your future, how to make them effective? This is important because, again, statistics have shown about 54% of our income may drop when when our spouse dies. So how do we empower our women? How do we empower our men out there to make better financial decisions about their situation? Most people I talk to when I meet them, pretty much 100% of the time, they all think they have a plan. They're just not so sure about the plan. And if you're not really identifying what it looks like, if there's two of you, what happens when one of you dies? We're going to die. It's a guarantee in life. I remember growing up, my mother would say this, there's two guarantees in life, death and taxes. People have said this for generations, right? Well, if we know that death is coming and we know that taxes are probably going up, do you think we should get a higher knowledge about how to deal with it? So one of the things that we create for people is something called an Income for Life report. This Income for Life report is so powerful because we need to see what our income looks like while we're living and life is going well, and we need to decide, can we live on what's left over if one of us predeceases the other? Now, I don't know about you, but whoever's in your life, I hope you love them. I hope you want to take care of them. I hope you have goals, dreams, and desires for the future if you're not in place with them to be able to live them out. And especially if you even have younger children at home, how do you protect that? And if you don't have children anymore at home and you have dreams for your grandbabies or something to come, these are things that you need to talk about. So talking about finances together and being connected is so important. So can you live off of 50 or 54% less income when your significant other passes before you? And if you can't, is it better to start doing the planning now? We talk about a statement that says, income solves everything. And it really does. I've seen it where my mother passed away 15 years ago. And, that's a big deal for us, right? 15, almost 16 years ago, actually now. Dad's been on the same amount of income. It lost mom's Social Security, but he's been on the same amount of income and has had cost of living increases. But today, just him living on that versus mom and dad when they were living on that same income back then, and making it work. Today, it's just not enough. So are we planning for inflation? It can't just be a dollar amount that you have now, but you need to really pick that apart. How much do we have together? How much do I have if he dies? Or how much do I have if she dies? And will I be able to live on that? You've got to determine these factors now, because this is what keeps people awake at night. So yes, ladies, if you're only involved in 3% of the decisions out there, I think it's time for you to get empowered and say, I need to know what's going on with these financial decisions, because they're going to ultimately affect me in my future. And if it's going to decrease my lifestyle or decrease my capacity to have a better lifestyle and a better quality of life, I think it's time for us to know. Now, there's been a lot of ladies out there that have been single that I've helped. And these ladies, I have empowered them to not feel that they have to be worried about not being taken care of. And it's really important, because that is the concern. How are we going to be taken care of in our financial lives, in our future lives, if, we have a health event, or if I want to retire today? And that's a funny kind of topic, because people will tell me, I wanted to retire last year or last week or today. And then when we actually show them that they can retire and live off the same amount of money that they're living on today, it's like hard for them to believe. Then they start to get nervous. So going into retirement and looking at the decisions about what life looks like financially for you, you've got to answer some questions to yourself. How much is the net amount of income, not the gross, but the net amount of income I need to live on in my retirement years, or if my spouse is no longer with me? If I have a health event, how do I want to be taken care of? Do I have a health event plan? And if I don't have a health event plan, what's it look like if I want to create a plan? It takes time to set these things up, but if you're not going to a true professional to help you do it, you need to make sure that you're creating that plan on your own, and that your family members or whoever is going to take care of you, that they know what you want to execute. Now, some people, when they do their estate plan, they think it's their kids that are going to take care of the responsibility. Well, maybe it's not your kids. Maybe it's someone that you trust, in your financial world and in your life, that they would make the best decisions for you. But whoever you put in charge, even if it's a hired fiduciary and it's a company that does this, you want to make sure that they know what your ideals are and what your best interests are. So map it out. Design it. That's really what the book that we created, Wealth by Design, is all about. It's your wealth and you design it. Now, if you don't have a true relationship with the value of money and what you have going on with it, now is the time to be empowered. I want to empower, men and women, but I especially want to empower women because of this particular article, Suddenly Single. It is, astonishing to me that the average widow is 59 years of age in the United States. That is really, really scary, where they thought, oh, I'm going to be, living with my spouse or my significant other into my 80s, and then we're both going to go. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Life happens. We need to be prepared for it. So with that said, we're going to have a financial expert on the show here that is an expert in the health insurance world. Her name is Diana Polyakov, and we're really excited to hear what her perspective is and really what her passion behind educating people about the right way to purchase health insurance, and then having options and being able to compare. So I hope you stay tuned. I hope that this is an inspiration to get involved, to take charge, and be empowered. Hi, I'm Elisabeth Dawson, and you're still staying tuned for our show, Ways to Love Your Money. The importance of talking about women in finance. We have an incredible expert guest that's with us today, and can't wait for you to hear about her perspective and how to protect yourself from all the events in life when it comes to health insurance. And I really am excited about having her tell her story here on the show. So her name is Diana Polyakov, and I want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show, Diana.
Hi, Elisabeth. Thanks for inviting. That's an honor.
Okay. Well, it's great to have you here. I know that there's so much going on in your world all the time when it comes to health insurance. And do you mind just telling us a little bit about you and your passion for what you do?
Sure. Well, actually, in health insurance right now, it's a slowdown because the open enrollment is closed. So our Super Bowl is towards the end of the year. That's when the open enrollment opens up, and that's when people usually shop for health insurance, and we get really busy. During that time of the year, I work 10, 12 hours a day.
Wow.
So a little bit of cool down. People still have life events. Some people lose health insurance provided through their job. And that's when they qualify to get health insurance in the middle of the year. Other people have babies or change their address, and that's when they have a qualifying life event. So we do still help those people, but it's not as busy as closer to the end of the year.
Well, and I know you have a passion for this, and you have something called the Insurance Hotline. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, that's an easy. I was looking for a name for my corporation, and I tried many. And for some reason, the Insurance Center Helpline really, I thought that it represents really what I do, because I do help people, and I mostly help people over the phone. So Insurance Center Helpline really is the name that represents what I do. Well,
that's good. That's good. So if we can kind of just take it to another place, I want to rewind a little bit, and I want you to tell me a little bit more about, you're an immigrant from another country.
I am.
And our listeners don't know anything about you, so I'd love for you to kind of tell us a little bit about, your journey.
Absolutely. So I came to the United States back in 2002. I was young and very ambitious. I'm still ambitious. So I just graduated from law school in my country. And then I came here. And the first thing I told my mom was living here. Let's go to whatever college universities are here. Let's go ahead and apply for something. I didn't care what I was studying. I really wanted to go back and do first thing I did, I took the business English course, because I thought this is, whatever I decide to do with my life, being able to speak would definitely be helpful for me. Mm-hmm. So I signed up. And then I decided to pursue a criminal justice program at San Francisco State University. Completed that, and then I worked in legal field a little bit. I was a paralegal helping attorneys, and then at some point that became really boring. So I decided to take it even further, and then I've completed my master's degree in finance, and I really chose to specialize in personal finance. That was really dear to me for some reason. I have no idea even when. I was thinking, why did I choose personal financial planning? I have no idea. Maybe I was so passionate about the stock market. I wanted to learn more about that. And it could have been that, I started learning more about personal finance, investment management, and so on. And I got myself into, that's my degree. I can say proud, I do have a master's degree in personal finance.
So let's kind of talk about that. So why did you take a course correction and go into doing basically health insurance planning?
Well, at the time that I was still enrolled, I was still enrolled in school, completing my master's degree. There was a lot of noise, a lot of buzz about, that was back in 2013, about the Affordable Care Act. Mm-hmm. People mainly know this Obamacare. Mm-hmm. And I had my insurance license at the time, so I decided to try and see. I saw an opportunity. Honestly, I realized that's a little bit, I'm a money girl, right? So I look at everything from the opportunity standpoint, mm-hmm. and I did see opportunity. I realized if health insurance is required and would be required for at least a term of 4 years, I don't know, there is a lot of opportunities here. Mm-hmm. I can get into the field that I know nothing about, and I can be successful in 3, 4, 5 years.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great.
Yeah, and a lot of people were talking me out of it.
Yeah. I think you shared with me that your family was trying to talk you out of that. They wanted you to use your law education.
Exactly, yeah. So especially my mom, she said, we did not came to America for you to sell stuff, for her. So, yeah, she really wanted me to go ahead and pursue my career in corporate finance, which it could have been a way, but it was something that I did not want. I did not want to go back to the corporate world. So, yeah, and I was right, because I got into the health insurance. It was so challenging. It was so hard, especially in the beginning, when there was so many changes to the law, changes to the health plans. A lot of the health insurance carriers were running out. They were not open for business, basically, because of the challenges and because of the requirements the Affordable Care Act put on them. Many of them were not ready for that. So many of my colleagues who were insurance agents, they basically ran out as well because they did not want to work more, work harder, and get paid less. Right? So they got used to the idea of making 20% on a sale, and the opportunity of making 2 or 3% on a sale was not something they were looking forward. But again, when you crunch the numbers, when you have one sale and you make 20%, or you have 100 sales, it's all about the numbers.
Well, I know that it's not always about the numbers when you're just such a great professional at what you do. And you shared a story with me about a lady that was really at her wit's end to be able to pay for her health insurance. Do you mind sharing that story?
Right, Elisabeth. Actually, this is something that made me stay in the business.
Is that right?
Yes, exactly. When you do help someone, and when you see that this person is better than he or she was before they met you, you realize that it's not everything about money, right? So during one of the enrollment events, and that was in the beginning, I think it was back in 2014, I met a woman. She was very shy. She approached me because probably she saw me as an immigrant as well. So she came to me and she said, "I need your help, but I have no idea what I want." And I said, "Okay, let's sit down and see what you have now, and we'll take it from there." So basically, she showed me her policy. She had health insurance. She had a good PPO plan, and she was paying over $1,400 a month. She was working 2 jobs. She needed that health insurance. She couldn't cancel it or give up on it because her husband was ill and they really depended on that. And she was basically slaving on 2 jobs and barely making $30,000 a year. And for San Francisco, that's not enough, especially if you have to pay so much for health insurance. So we basically, what I did is I run some numbers in the Cover California, and then we actually found out that she qualifies for a subsidy, and subsidy was quite generous. So I told her that basically she would be paying a few $100s for the same plan that she had, and actually the new plan had a few extra benefits that the previous plan did not include. So, I can't say that she was happy. She was crying. And I got those emotions and butterflies. And when you work hard and you see that someone really benefited from the work you did, this gives you power to move on and continue.
I think when you're doing things and it's in the best interest and the right. In the right way, doing things that are, for the client or for the person or for the emotional person that you're talking to, if you're doing the best for them, and that becomes a life-changing event, not only for them, but also for you.
Absolutely. It's all about the information. So this lady, she had no access to information. What I did is I basically gave her that information. I didn't do anything extraordinary. I didn't pay from my own pocket or anything. I just guided her into the right direction. And this is one option. You have this option. You can you can use that. If you're paying taxes and you're working hard, why not benefit from the subsidy, right?
Sure,
So
sure.
she's definitely, well, she still calls me,
Oh,
calls
that's
me, and then she calls me, asks me how are your kids doing.
great.
So
Yeah.
she was so happy that she unintentionally became my friend.
Oh, yes, that's the best. That's the best situation, the best possible outcome.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes. So there's many people that are listening to this show right now, and a lot of people that are plagued with the higher cost of health insurance, especially if they're self-employed or if they're, they don't have health benefits that are offered through the company that they work for. So what would you tell people to do right now? We might not be at open enrollment, but it's going to be coming in faster than we realize. So what would you tell them right now?
Well, absolutely compare. I always like to compare and see what your options are. Mm-hmm. And obviously, even if you cannot do anything right now, if you can get a better plan, if you can save money on your health insurance, why not get that advantage, right? So compare options and, plan for the open enrollment. If there's something good coming up, definitely jump on it. That's my advice.
Well, good.
If not, it could be the other way. It could be that the employer is offering much better benefits that are available on the individual market. So it doesn't really make sense to change, right? And what else is important is people need to understand that they have to compare apples to apples.
Oh, agree.
Yeah. If they're comparing a very good plan that the employer offers with the worst plan available on the individual market, obviously they will make a bad decision because they're not comparing apples to apples.
Well, good. Well, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for, giving us your wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And, if people need to reach you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, I'm very active on social media. I do have a website, which is Insurance Center Helpline. It's right behind me.
There you go.
Yeah. People can find me on YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel where I talk a lot about health insurance. That's actually very helpful for a lot of people to understand what a PPO is, what's an HMO, what's the relation, what's the best, what's not, what is the deductible, how does it work. So I explain all of that on my YouTube channel, which is called Let's Talk Money channel. So, yeah, you can find me. I have a lot of. I think I dominate the health insurance on YouTube at this point, at least. On the health insurance and cover California keywords. So definitely anyone can either search me by my name or by the name of the channel, which is, again, Let's Talk Money channel. I'm there.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Again, your expertise and also your passion and drive for what you do. So thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Elisabeth.
You're welcome. Diana is such a wealth of knowledge. We are so much more fortunate to have heard what she had to say today. I mean, what a great interview. There's so many people out there struggling with the cost of medical care and health insurance. And, this lady that inspired her to be in this business and to be a powerhouse in this business has just been an incredible story. And I'm sure that you can relate because most people have a story when it comes to health insurance or being able to afford the higher cost of premiums, especially if we have a full family or if we have someone at home that's ill. So if you need to get more information about that, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll get you in contact. But, Diana is a true advisor in that role of really talking about what your options are. Apples to apples, not apples to oranges, which I think is so many of the options out there that we're seeing. It has to be something that's catered to you, especially in the health insurance world. So again, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you'll stay tuned for more episodes to come. And it was great having Diana on the show today. The information provided in this show is for informational and educational purposes only. This show is not investment advice, nor is it intended to address the financial needs of any particular viewer. The opinions expressed on this show are not intended to be an endorsement of any particular investment strategy or service of any other kind. You must make an independent decision regarding investments or strategies mentioned throughout the show. Before acting on information in this show, you should consider whether it is suitable for your particular situation and strongly consider seeking advice from a financial advisor.